Welcome to Results First. I'm Rory Sheppard with ActionCOACH of West Texas. Today we are joined by Shelley Cunningham of Ronald McDonald House Charities of Amarillo. And so I wanted to start, Shelley, with you and have you give us just a little bit of the background, a little bit about Ronald McDonald House, how long y'all have been in Amarillo, who your clients are, and kind of the impact that you make, not only for those clients, but also in our community.
Well, thank you, Rory. I appreciate being here with you, and I appreciate having the opportunity to highlight the Ronald McDonald House here in Amarillo. And it was so crazy when you just asked me that question, because I definitely have my spiel of, we've been here 40 years. We take care of families with sick kids when they travel. But when you asked me that question, I had just left the front office. And Jackie, who works in the front office, was carrying around a 7-month-old baby girl, precious baby girl. And the mom and dad were sitting in Jan's office, in our program director's office. And Jackie turned around with the little girl, beautiful, big old eyes, beautiful 7-month-old, but she has a scar on her head, about this big on the side of her head. And Jackie said she is here for chemotherapy. And I about lost it when she told me that. Her mom and dad are young. She is 7 months old. I'm guessing, had a brain tumor removed and is here for cancer treatment. And that's why we're here. And that's why we do what we do. That's the reason Ronald McDonald House is in Amarillo. Families have to come to Amarillo seeking medical care that is not available in their small rural communities: Dalhart, Dumas, Pampa, Perryton, Hereford, Guyman, Groover. We have a family with us from Groover right now. There's not pediatric medical care. There's certainly not neonatal care or cancer care or special neurological care, psychological care. So we have a place. We have a place that families can come, stay with us, have a private room, private bathroom, meals, transportation, a place to do laundry, and people like Jackie that will carry your baby around while you're visiting with Jan about what is going on in your life and what your needs are. So that is the Ronald McDonald House.
Well, I will have to admit that I almost lost it when you were telling the story. So
I just saw, I've never seen, I don't know when they checked in, never met the family. Yeah, I almost lost it.
Yeah, that is a very special purpose that you serve and a gap that you fill. So thank you just for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's Ronald McDonald House. How about Shelley Cunningham? So how long have you been there? Kind of what was your journey? What'd you do before you were at Ronald McDonald House?
Well, way back when, my mom and dad let me get a theater degree from WT. I don't really know what they thought I was going to do with that. But then I was a mom. I am a mom. I have 3 kids, and I stayed home with my kids when they were younger, and they started going to the Amarillo Montessori Academy, and the executive director position came open, and I was the interim director until they could find someone, and that lasted 13 years. So I loved that. I loved my 3 feet tall friends. Loved being with families and kids. And my mother was volunteering here at the Ronald McDonald House. Okay. And she said, Shelley, the director's retiring. And my mom had gone to elementary school and junior high and high school with Jan Reed, incredible director, incredible. She had been here 19 years. And she said, I feel like this would be a good fit for you. And so my kids were old enough. We weren't really on the school schedule anymore like we used to be. And I wanted to branch out and help families and children in a different way. And so I have been here. It will be 12 years in June.
Okay. So I love that story. I love how connections just happen, right? I mean, and that part of your mom being a volunteer there and going, hey, this is a perfect spot for you.
Yeah.
I do have we're a little bit on the kindred spirit side. I filled a interim position at a service center for HEB. Was supposed to be there 4 months. 10 years later, I was still there.
Well, I was serving on the board, and the director had some health issues. I mean, it was just immediately she was gone, and I was like the one person. I was home with my kids. I didn't mind being at school with my kids. It was kind of nice. Yeah, so it was great. It was a great experience. I loved it. I really loved it, and still do love it.
Fantastic. So I'm going to fast forward us from that till late July, early August this year. So kind of what was that driver for you, that decision to say, I need to engage a little bit with Action Coach. We need to do some things a little bit different. And kind of what expectations did you have just as you reached out and said, let's do something for Ronald McDonald House?
Well, I don't know that I can say that it's one thing. It was a blessing a few years ago when Tiffany came by to visit with me and kind of explain about Action Coach. And I didn't feel like we were in a position, of course you think about the money. Unfortunately, a lot of times you think about the money first. And just kind of felt like we were in a good place. Everything was fine. But my middle son had been doing some workshops and working with you guys. He was part of the Enterprise Challenge, and I was hearing some great things about that. And in the meantime, Tiffany had remained connected with us. I enjoy her, whether she's whatever, whether we're doing Action Coach or not.
Right.
But we, like I said, I've been here almost 12 years. And we've always had a very small staff and a very small budget. And in 2019, we embarked on a capital campaign to build a new house. Budgets increased, some staffing needed to be increased. And of course, then the whole crazy COVID thing where we didn't have as much staff. And then some people started working from home. And I mean, people get so tired, blame everything on COVID, right? But it was some of those shifts that happened during that time. And then, we really realized that we were serving families really well here in the house, but we had not done a very good job of following up with families and staying connected with them, which in turn, I think connects us to those communities that we're serving.
Right.
And, you frequently talk about Whataburger and that being your family and those folks that you work with. You got the crazy aunt and the rambunctious toddler and the slow old whatever. A lot of our staff has quite a bit of longevity, and we've been together a long time. And we brought in a few new staff members, created some new positions. And it just created a little tension, or maybe it didn't create the tension, but maybe we just recognized.
Yeah.
And I just got to thinking, how can we do this? And being a small staff, I don't have an HR person. We don't have a business manager. Right. And I think like I told you, I'm a theater. I had a theater background. I have since taken business courses. But not everybody has the expertise and tools. Like sometimes we just need the right tool.
Right.
And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Tiffany. I'm going to see what she says. And so that was, I really think those were the things that led to us realizing we needed help outside our organization.
Yeah, that what you described, right? That idea or that realization that maybe we're not as perfect as we thought we were, right? When we add staff, remove staff, changes in staffing, that drives that kind of realization a lot of the time. And so it's not unlike when you you got 2 kids and you bring that third one home, right? All the dynamics just change, right?
I've never thought of it that way.
Right.
But
I mean, you only added 1 kid. You were 4 and now you're just 5. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it was dramatic. You went from one-on-one defense to zone defense, right? I mean, you and your husband could no longer play the way that you had played before.
Right.
But the same thing happens in our teams. And so we've got to go through that storming, norming, forming, and performing kind of cycle again, regardless of if I've got 5 on the team or I have 25 on the team. Adding 1 or taking 1 away changes the dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had a session with Tiffany last night, and we were just working on planning the calendar. That's what we were working on.
Right.
But we started talking about sunsetting a program that it's time to begin to make a little shift. And Luke's our marketing director, and he said, I just want to sunset events. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, we have great events. And he's like, no, it's just parts of events. And it just came to light we had been selling t-shirts. We had a thing where we sold t-shirts, and Luke hated. That is not his strength. That is not Luke's strength, not his gift. But it's the whole storming, norming, and I came out of that meeting with Tiffany talking to the staff today about, we got to get together more often and just be honest about, I do this thing. I don't even like doing this thing. Does somebody else want to do this thing?
Right.
Because Jan said, I want to do t-shirts. Let me take it on. I'll take on t-shirts. So you have to. You can't just have status quo. I mean, some people can. Sure, some people can. I am not a person that is satisfied with status quo.
Yep. Love that. So outside of just kind of that idea, that realization that we probably need to be in conversation more, we did some work with assessments, around giftedness, some things around communication, but has there been either for you personally or for the team, an organizational change that's been pretty significant since we started working with you about 4 months ago? Has there been anything that's just major?
I really do think I really have appreciated working Genius. And I think the more we all meet together as a group. So I've had the privilege of having some one-on-one coaching with Tiffany, and my staff deserves that privilege as well. They really do. And we're going to have to figure out how to make that happen. But for me, having the teams map, because like the whole thing with Luke is a wanderer. That's one of Luke's strengths. And Luke is a finish it up in the end. Make the goal, exceed the goal. Luke's like, you better do 100% better than you did last year. But the middle, not so much his thing. Yeah. Not really his thing. So that, for me, that really has helped figure out who needs to be doing, where they need to fit in the continuum.
And we need to get a little help for him in that innovation, that invention, creative kind of piece, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, right? And so it's part of selling t-shirts. There's a galvanizing component that probably just drove him crazy.
Well, and he hated the sorting them all out at the end and figuring out who they all went to. Why do that? He did the thing. Why did he need to do that?
Yeah.
So that and I think the time gainers, and I don't know enough about time gainer, and I want to know more about that. I am the first to admit that probably for 11 years we've been kind of flying by the seat of our pants and getting things done and doing lots of things well, but probably with a lot more stress than it needed to have.
Okay. Love both of those. So you kind of shared in your story, right, that kind of watch 3 kids grow up. You're in a different stage of life now, those kind of things. But running a charity, like you do, and the involvement that you've got to have with clients, and it's not by any means an 8 to 5 kind of role. It's all on all the time, those kind of things. How do you balance your personal life and the things that you're doing outside of the work that you do with Ronald McDonald House, with the demands of the charity, and that heart kind of tug that you get when you see a 7-month-old baby with a big scar on their head, right? I mean, you just want to stay there all the time. So how do you balance those two?
I think my husband and my kids might tell you I don't do a great job. But I do. I go to yoga twice a week. It's at 5:00 on Tuesday and Thursday. I mean, it's at 5:30, and I try to be out the door by 5:00. I really try to do that. And my husband and I do enjoy traveling. We haven't, since we built the new house and moved into the new house, and we added an incredible event last year, I haven't taken time to do that. And last month, I did not feel so great, and my blood pressure was kind of high, and I wasn't feeling great. And that is very important. But I do, like, I serve on the board for Texas, the musical, because I performed in Texas, and you and I talk about filling your bucket. And I think mine is always just, it starts half full, and sometimes stuff goes out and sometimes stuff comes in. But we had our Texas board meeting, and I told them, I'm like, y'all fill my bucket. Like, I love this. This fills my bucket.
Right.
And my husband and I make time to get together, and we really try every Sunday afternoon, if at all possible, whatever kids are in town, whoever's here, parents, in-laws, try to get together with everybody. We do, but I could balance it better than I do. I could.
Yeah, I think, and we're never going to be in perfect balance. I love one of the things that Darren Hardy says is, when you are perfectly balanced, you're standing still. And so you always need to be leaning forward just a little bit to grow. So you need to be out of balance for growth to happen. So
can I tell you a funny story real quick?
Yeah, shoot, yeah.
So way back when I was at Montessori school, because I've been here almost 12 years, so this was like AOL mail, right? And it was like how you'd set your computer all night long, and it would ding in the morning that something had uploaded. My husband got a BlackBerry, and he was checking email on it. I was like, "You're a nut! I'm never going to check email on my phone. That's crazy."
Right.
Yeah. And now my family has to say, "Mom,
put your phone down."
Phone.
Yeah. So, quick question just around advice that you would give to business owners or executives for nonprofits around the need for continuous learning.
Very important. And, so when I was at Montessori school, we made an effort every year to go to a Montessori conference, meet other Montessorians, find out what's going on. Again, think how long ago that was. Montessori magazine came out, always new ideas, always good stuff.
Right.
With Ronald McDonald House, we are blessed. We're our own 501c3 charity, but we have the power of 400 other nonprofits, all called Ronald McDonald House, sharing best practices. You can't ever be afraid to say, "I don't know." You can always say, "I will try to get the answer for you," but you have to be able to say, "I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how that works." But sometimes you have to go beyond your peers, or you have to go beyond what is known in your organization. If we never look outside of our organization for good ideas, best practices, new concepts, we're never going to get better, and we're never going to change. And the world we live in right now, things change in the blink of an eye. We better be ready to learn something new and try something new. And I tell my staff this, like, try the thing. And if it doesn't work, don't be afraid to say, yeah, that didn't work. Let's try this different. We had a thing where families were coming in and we would put food that had been prepared for them in the fridge, and they'd set it all out on the counter, and people would put their spoons in it, and who knows what, who touched it, how long it sat out. And we said, we got to do something different. So we put these signs on the fridge that said, come to the front desk, come ask us, we'll help serve you the food. Well, if we're cleaning a room or checking in a family or talking on the phone, not always convenient to go serve food to you. And then it's not convenient to you because you're waiting.
Right.
And we had to be able to say, that sounded like a good idea. That did not work.
Yeah.
And then we came up with grab and go. And now everything goes into a to-go container, those nice ones, like the black plastic ones. And families can grab that.
Yep.
They can eat it in the kitchen. They can take it to their room. It's great. But we had to be able to say, we know this isn't working. Try this. Yeah, that didn't work either. And be willing to try this other thing.
Yes, a couple of things that I would pull out of that, right? One is the two most dangerous words in learning are I know, right? And so if I think I know and I say I know out loud, I shut down my ability to learn anything else, right? I just stop. And so I think that, and then the willingness and the ability to say, let's just try it, as opposed to thinking I can perfect it on paper, because things never work in real life the way you expected them to work. And so being willing and, encouraging that from a leadership position to say, let's just go try it. If it doesn't work, we can change, but you got to get started. So that would be.
But of course, me with the invention and the galvanizing, like if I have the idea today, I want to start the idea today.
Yes.
So that, but that's been another great thing about Working Genius. So Jen and I, we've worked together for the whole 11 years, and we make a very good team. And I'll have the big, hairy idea, and I'll take it to Jen, and I'll be like, okay, just sleep on this.
Yeah.
Just really think about this thing. And then she comes back, and between us, we get the happy medium there.
Love it. Love it. All right. So I'm going to go into 3 very quick answer kind of questions. Don't spend a lot of time here. 1 sentence kind of answers, but what are you reading right now? Or is there a podcast that you're listening to that you would recommend?
This is so bad. I'm rereading Harry Potter right now.
Okay. I love it.
I love the Harry Potter series. I read something new every time that I read it.
Yep.
But I have been listening. It's not a podcast. I've been listening to an audiobook, and it's about getting rid of clutter, but it's so not typical. It is a wonderful, wonderful. You said quick. This is not going quickly because
Right.
I'm
That's
trying
all
to
right.
tell you. Keep the memories, lose the stuff.
Oh, I love that.
And I'll tell you who it is, maybe. Keep the memories, lose the stuff, define your finish line. And it's Matt Paxton.
Okay.
Matt Paxton.
Matt Paxton.
But
keep the memories, lose the stuff.
Yeah. And he just says, like, be with somebody when you're getting rid of stuff. Tell the story. Tell why the thing means something to you. And then it's even okay to put it in a box and forget about it for a while. But it's just, I have collected wonderful things from parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, people that have passed on. And my husband has as well. And we started in the garage, and we've shared memories with each other. And a lot of things have gone on to another life, and we have the great memory.
Fantastic. So what is a big learning that you've had since you've taken over as the executive director at Ronald McDonald House? Big learning.
That you have got to walk a mile in someone else's shoes. You never know what someone is going through. And there are so many situations in life that are 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And you can't dwell on the step back.
That's a pretty big learning. So thank you for sharing that. And then last one thing that you've changed your mind on in the last year. So you were completely convinced this is the way things worked, or this is the way I needed to do something, and now you've changed your mind. Do you have one?
Oh, I'm sure there's more of it. I am not a person who is so set in their ways that they never change their mind. I have learned, I used to think it was better to maybe wait before you had confrontation. And I'm not going to say that I've done like a complete 180 on that. But sometimes it's better just to say the thing right then. Just say the thing.
Yeah, in most cases, right? Whatever was causing that conflict inside us doesn't go away, and in fact, it actually festers, right? So it gets even bigger if I hold it in, as opposed to managing that. And then the other would be that we talk about a conflict continuum, but one end is that hateful, harsh, mean-spirited kind of language, which we don't like.
No,
we don't like that kind of conflict. But the other end is really kind of apathy or artificial harmony, where I just don't say anything because I don't want to rock the boat. But both of those ends of the spectrum are very negative as far as conflict goes. Mm-hmm. We need to confront it or be in conflict in the middle, where it can be constructive, because we're talking about ideas or systems or processes or things, as opposed to calling each other names and being hateful or mean. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you have a certain working relationship with a person, they make exceptions for you and you make exceptions for them. And that, maybe that works in your dynamic, but you cannot expect others to make the same exceptions.
Right. Yeah. All right. So we've got a little thing scrolling there on the bottom of the screen that's kind of contact information for Ronald McDonald House. So it's RMHC of Amarillo.org. And then if you want to donate, there is a donate now button at the top, but that's also the link there. But how else can we see what you guys are doing or connect with you?
That's what I was going to say, but not just donate.
Yeah.
We love to have volunteers. We still, now that we are getting more full and really getting into the routine of the new house, I mean, we've got 12 bedrooms and there's 11 families here right now. Sorry, I'm trying to end this call.
Popular.
Yeah. Volunteering. Love to have volunteers. We would love to have some folks that maybe have 3 hours a week or 3 hours a month that could come sit at the front desk and greet the families and answer the phone, and do those things. That meal groups where, it's always nice to have either somebody have a meal delivered for the families or come. It's a great team building activity to come prepare a meal for families. It's wonderful. And then if folks aren't able to actually physically come here and volunteer, folks can always collect wish list items. We have an Amazon wish list that's always on the website that people can just collect in their office. Like, look at the wish list, see the stuff, collect in your office. And pop tabs, those little metal tabs on whatever you happen to be drinking or eating that the little tab comes off of. We take about 400 pounds of those to the recycler every quarter, and that keeps them out of the landfill. We get to recycle them, and we have a little bit of extra money to use for the families.
Love that.
And it doesn't cost you anything to
tab. Well, fantastic. Well, Shelley, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing a little bit of the story and the impact that you have in the community. We know that the families that come and spend time there have stories that they tell for a long time after, and things that maybe you didn't even know happened while they were there, right?
True. Very true. Yeah. But we just want to relieve some stress. If there is some stress that we can take off of them, we met our goal.
Yep. Well, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory.